Minasan, konnichiwa, samurai engineer desu. In this video, let us continue our discussion on NFPA 101 Life Safety Code. We are still on the part 1, last module, the third one. We are going through examples. Our example in this module is the compliance modifier code for a jewelry store. So let us proceed with the discussion, starting with the goal and objective of life safety code, which is to address specific requirements on safety to life, mission continuity, and property protection in both new construction and existing buildings. So we have for part 1, introduction, we have code organization, core chapters, occupancies, annexes, and now we are on navigating the code. We would like to familiarize ourselves with the code by the use of code, finding out the requirements of the code by a 9-step procedure, and then using that procedure in this example. So we are navigating the code, and here we are through with the 5 major steps, which is included in the 9-step procedure. We are through with the standard 9-step procedure. This 9-step procedure is actually the code's suggestion on its section 1.1. Okay? Section 1.1. And we are now on the third part of the module, which is an example of a business, which is a jewelry store. So we have the following problem, and let us try to solve this using the code. Compliance procedure, which is a 9-step standard. Problem situation: a new jewelry retail sales operation or a jewelry store, in short, occupying all of the 12th floor of a multi-tenant building, uses 5,000 square foot or equivalent to 465 square meters, or 95% of the floor area for sales purposes. Okay, so this store occupies all of the 12th floor. This is the 12th floor of a building. Okay, and this business uses 465 square meter or 95% of the floor area for sales purposes. Okay, for sales purposes, so there is only 5% for other purpose. Okay, so take note of this 5% floor area for sales purposes. Okay. So, code requirement for the problem. What is the solution? The task. Look at it one by one, using this 9-step standard procedure in finding out the code requirements. So, number 1, what is the occupancy classification of this? So we already know because it's given in the problem situation. Therefore, our occupancy classification is what? Mercantile. Okay, so mercantile definition from subparagraph 1 of paragraph 10, section 1 of chapter 6. We have mercantile occupancy is an occupancy used for the display and sale of merchandise. So definitely a jewelry store with the main purpose of selling jewelries is a mercantile occupancy as defined in this code. Okay, so therefore we already finished the first step, the occupancy classification. So let us go to number 2, application. Is this a new or existing application? So these are the definition for existing building. So a building erected or officially authorized prior to the effective date of the adoption of this edition of code by the agency or jurisdiction. That is what we mean by existing building. Okay, so existing building, because we are just a tenant, the building is already there. Existing building with respect to judging whether a building should be considered existing, the deciding factor is not when the building was designed or when construction started, but rather the date plans were approved for construction by the appropriate authority having jurisdiction. So the approval date. Okay, the approval date is our date of contention. Okay, so when is the approval for construction? Okay, there's the approval for construction, a new construction, because as you can see, let us go back. A new jewelry retail sales operation. Okay. The buildings may be already there, but it is bare, still bare. The 12th floor is bare. So since we decided to rent or lease the 12th floor and decided to make it a mercantile operation. So therefore, we are what? That is the time that we have to comply with the code. Okay, new type of application or occupancy, new occupancy type. So we are going new. This is new. Therefore, it is not existing because we are going to what? Make the necessary permit documents, engineering plans, and so on for the fire department approval. So there's no approval yet. So therefore, it is going to be new because the contention is the approval date by the authority having jurisdiction. So let us go to the next one. Okay, so this is explanation. Okay. Sorry about that. Since the jewelry store used in this example was occupied, subsequent to adoption of the code being enforced, we determined that the life safety features required are those that apply to new construction. Okay. Okay. Already occupied, subsequent, meaning after the code, okay, after this code This code is 2018. After this code is enforced, 2018 code is enforced. So, is this 2018? This code is let me check. Let me check what is the year of this code. Okay, after checking on our document, this code is 2017. 2017, so if this occupancy is occupied after, okay, like in this explanation, it is occupied after the adoption of the code, meaning subsequent to the adoption of the code. It is therefore new construction. Okay, so that is the reason why our answer is new. Okay, so next step, number 3, occupant load. How to compute the occupant load. So let us find out. This is important. The occupant load in any building or portion thereof shall be not less than OL. So OL, what is OL? Or occupant load? In any building or portion thereof. So portion, we are only talking about the 12th floor, okay, portion of the building. Okay. So we are only talking about the 12 floors. Occupant load is equal to floor area divided by occupant load factor. The unit of measure is number of persons. So floor area is in square meters, therefore the occupant load factor is in square meters per person. So if you divide, number of persons is the unit of measure for occupant load. Okay, so let us proceed to find out what is the square meter and the occupant load factor. So we need two values to be able to compute. The principle of this code is to provide means of egress for maximum probable number of occupants. Okay, probable number. So maximum probable number, and not to attempt to limit occupants to a number commensurate with available means of egress. We don't have to make a notice on our entrance door that sorry, we are on full capacity. Okay, so instead of doing that, our process is to take note of the number of occupants, probably by physical counting. There are buildings, there are security that they are counting, equipment, counting device. Okay, as you go inside. So we can do that physical counting, or by just reviewing the CCTV, okay, and finding out the time and the number of persons for which the maximum. occupants are present inside that area. So let us make that, or even make some allowance for future increase of probable occupants. Then use that as our target for our compliance. Meaning, design our means of egress for the number of occupants. Not the other way around. Not designing the means of egress, then try to compute how many people are allowed to enter the area. So it's the difference. So that's why we have this principle. This is a principle of the code. Okay. However, limits of occupancy are specified in certain special cases for other reasons. There are specific reasons where limits cannot be prevented, so there are notices. This building maximum, for example, even not only building, it is very usual to see, for example, bridges to have maximum tonnage. Maximum tonnage, you can convert the maximum tonnage in terms of number of persons if you are looking at building. Okay? So it should be maximum. Okay. So let us use the table, chapter 7, section 3, paragraph 1.1 table. Okay. Occupant load factor. So we can use an occupant load factor that is appropriate for our application. This is our application mercantile. So there are several listing there in the table. So we just have to look at the mercantile use and the business use because they are related to our application, our occupancy. So for mercantile use, you can see sales area on street floor. So there are two values there. One is for square feet and one is for square meter. So let us use the square meter because in our country we are using as a unit. So let's use square meters for floor area. How many sales area on street floor? That's not the case because we are on the 12th floor. Sales area on 2 or more street floors. That is not the case. Sales area on floor below street floor. That is not. Sales area on floors above the street floor. Okay, so we are above street floor. So that is 5.6. Okay, square meter per person. Okay, you'll notice as we go up, okay, per person, 5.6 per person, that is what? Lighter density. On the floor, the same surface, the same level as the street, we have only 2.8 because they can easily get out of the area. That's why even denser, 2.8 is just 50% of 5.6. Okay, so in 5.6 square meter, only one person. But if the floor is on the ground, 2.8. So there are 2 persons on 5.6 square meter. Okay, so that is the meaning. See, what else? Floors or portion of floors used only for offices. Okay, C, business use. That is for office, so that's why we have to look at the other part of the table, which is business use. Okay, we have floors or portion of floors used only for storage, receiving, shipping, and not open to general public. Okay, so let us see the business use. The business use other than below. Concentrated business use. Airport, traffic control tower, observation levels. So, concentrated business use, we don't know. So we cannot, we can decide to use that because we don't know. But also we can use the general, which is business use, which is 14. Okay. 14. Okay. So let us use 14 or 4.6. You can decide, and also 5.6. Okay. So that is our occupant load factors. Occupant load is the maximum probable number of occupants present at any time. At any time. So we can actually look at the CCTV and find out which time is the time wherein we have maximum occupants. Today, all factors are expressed in gross area unless marked net. So those numbers are gross area. For example, 5.6 square meter per person. That is gross area. Letter B, in finding occupancy load in mercantile occupancies where two or more floors directly accessible from the streets exist, each such floor is permitted to be considered a street floor. You already know that. You already know that. If directly. So gross floor area of sales space per person, for example, 3.7 meter per person. Okay. Directly accessible from street exists. Okay. In finding occupancy load in mercantile occupancies with no street floor, 3.3 or 271, but with access directly from the street by stairs or escalators, the floor at the point of entrance, to the mercantile occupancy is considered street floor. Okay. So we have that. Access. Okay. We have that access directly from the street, meaning we will not during emergency, our occupants will move going to this street by stairs, going down the stairs to the street directly. Okay. From that 12th floor, if there is provision, for example, exit provision directly from 12th floor going out of the street. The floor at that point of interest to the mercantile occupancy is considered street floor. So that entrance of the exit, okay, going to the mercantile street floor. Okay, so consideration for the purpose of computation. Okay. if both gross and net area are given for the same occupancy, calculation shall be by DrEYPEI applying the gross area to the gross area of the portion of the building devoted to the use for which the gross area is specified. Use the gross area if that is specified. B, applying the net area to the net area of the portion of the building devoted to use for which the net area figure is specified. Just uniformly apply whichever is the required net area or gross area. For the occupant load, therefore, we have following. Okay, first we have to compute the floor area. How much? Okay, 465 square meter of floor area is devoted for 95% of it is devoted for what? For sales, and 5% of that is devoted for other purposes, general business purposes. Therefore, for general business purposes, 23.25 square meter and 441.75 square meter for sales purposes. Okay, so that is our floor area. Therefore, what is the factor that we get? 5.6, as we already decided from the table. We already know that our floor is not on the same level of the street floor. Okay, mercantile. Business 2.8. Business 2.8. Take note. That is our decision. You have to decide. 2.8. So let us go back. I will show you. I will show you how we come up to that. Okay. So 2.8 is our here business. Okay. We did not choose this one. We did not choose this. We use this one, which is what? Collaboration rooms, spaces, which is less than 41.8 square meter. Okay. Because we calculated how many? 23. We calculated 23. So that is what? Less than 41.8. That is a collaboration room. Okay. Business area, general business area. Okay, general business area, we use 2.8. Use 2.8. So we did not consider it. We consider only this one and this one. Okay, but there is an explanation here, and you have to read the explanation at the end of the table. So there is an explanation. So it may change the decision making on this. So you have to read all the fine prints. Okay, so we consider 4.6, but apparently because 5% is allocated for general business use, that is what? Less than 41.8 in area. Okay, so that is 2.8. So let's go back. This one, so less than 41.8, so 23.25. So therefore, we have to use 2.8 square meter. And because of that, 23.25 divided by 2.8. So if you compute 441.75 divided by 5.6 plus this value, therefore we have 87.2 or 88. Okay, you can also decide 87 or 88, but since there is no person, maybe 0.2 is the infant. There is no
parcel number of persons. So we can use 88 or 87. So for me, I would use 88. Okay? That is our occupant load. So we'll read through. Let's go to number 4, which is hazard of contents. Hazard of contents shall be relatively shall be the relative danger of A, the start and spread of fire. And that is hazard. How much is the level of danger at the start and spread of fire? Different areas, different applications, different occupancies have different relative danger. Letter B, smoke or gases generated. So relative danger with respect to smoke or gas. So not only fire, you also the letter C, you have explosion. So you have heat, fire, smoke, and gases. Gases can be a danger because during fire, these gases contains toxic elements and or other occurrence potentially endangering the lives and safety of occupants of the building or structure. This is what we mean by hazard of contents. Hazard of contents shall be classified by the registered design professional or RDP, registered design professional or owner. Okay, so they are the one who will evaluate or assess or classify, okay, and submit it to AHJ for review and approval on the basis of the character of the contents in the processes of operation conducted in the building or structure. I will give more details on this later. We will find several explanations later on about this. Okay. Owner will classify and to be approved by the AHJ. If different degrees of hazard of contents exist in different parts of a building or structure, the most hazardous shall govern the classification. Okay, so there are 4 different rooms, and there are different degrees of hazard of contents. The most hazardous shall govern the classification. It is classified as that. The hazard of contents in any building or structure shall be classified as low, ordinary, or high. What is the low? Hazard shall be classified as those of such low combustibility that no self-propagating fire therein can occur. Okay, that is what we mean by low hazard. How about ordinary? Hazard contents shall be classified as those that are likely to burn with moderate rapidity to give off considerable volume of smoke. Okay, and high hazard shall be classified as those that are likely to burn with extreme rapidity or from which explosions are likely to happen. So, because of this, we can classify our problem situation as ordinary hazard contents, OHC. Therefore, let us go to step 5. Let us now look for the occupancy chapter. For applicable occupancy, knowing the floor is mercantile occupancy, we narrow the range of choice of applicable occupancy chapters from chapter 12 to 42. To that specifically address mercantile occupancy. So we already know that we are only dealing with chapter 36 and 37, respectively for what? New and existing installation. Okay. Therefore, we could narrow the applicable occupancy requirements to those for new mercantile occupancy. And because we are able to determine that our application is new, therefore only chapter 36. Okay, let us go to the next step. Step number 6, sub-classification or special use. We next identify the subclass of the mercantile occupancy. There are sub-classification, class A, B, or C, on the basis of the area, which is 465 square meter, but not more than 2,800 square meter floor area used for sale purposes. So let us classify this from this data. We are less than 2,800, but more than or equal to 465. Okay, because the jewelry store occupies more than 3,000 square feet. Okay, more than 3,000 square feet, which is what, 280 square meter. So it is classified as class B. Class B mercantile. So class B, it is, we are able to have the sub-classification of our application. Now let us go to the next one, which is chapter, step number 7. So let us proceed to applicable chapter and verify compliance. Okay. For compliance verification, we can locate the requirements of chapter 36 that is specifically applied to class B mercantile, because we already know that we are class B and mercantile occupancies, and those requirements that apply across all sub-classifications of mercantile occupancies. Okay, so take note of that. Just locate so that later on we can comply with those requirements. Chapter 36 and class B. And take a look at step number 8. Does our application have 2 or more occupancy type? So there are, we can do the step number 8, which is we will decide who will take precedence. Note that chapter 36 does not repeat the requirements found in chapters 1 to 4 and 6 to 10, because the code mandatorily references the use of those chapters. Therefore, there is no one who will take precedence. All of them have to be complied with. So chapter 1 to 4, and chapter 6 to 10, and then chapter 36. All of them. Because we do not have combination or mixed use of those. And therefore, last step, which is step 9, special structure. It's our own special structure. So this is because the jewelry store is located in high-rise portion of the building. Special. By 36.4.2 requires compliance with the high-rise building requirement. That is chapter 11, section 8. So 11.8. So high-rise building, that is specifically, chapter 11 is specifically special structure. So 11.8, that is for high-rise. Okay, so therefore, let us use the most restrictive requirement. You already know chapter 1 to 4, 6 to 10, and chapter 36. If there are similar or related requirements, so let us decide which one is the most restrictive. Okay, so let us look at this summary. This problem, we recognize that the requirements of chapter 1 to 4, 6 to 10, chapter 11 portion, because we need to look specifically 11.6, 11.8, chapter 11, section 8, and chapter 30 apply and required to be met. So all of this. Okay. And because of this, we can summarize using the figure. Okay, chapter 1 to 4. What is chapter 5? That is performance based. So that is not prescriptive. So we are using prescriptive type of design here. So we are done with our design requirement. We are done with the process. So we already know we have what? 88 persons maximum probable occupants at any given time. This is our selection process. And again, thank you for having our video. Please support our channel by liking, sharing, and subscribing. Please post an advertisement for minimum fee, and also you can based upon our advocacy using our GCash. 1 peso is enough. 1 peso is enough. Please help us maintain and continue our free channel. Again, this is DrEYPEI, teaching engineering for nation building.